Call to order the meeting for equalization today. April 8th, 2025. So, do we usually do the moment silent of reflection? We'll start with Ron. I found that we're kind of going order would be the best way to do it. I think someone mentioned that to me last time. So we'll start with the moment of reflection and the pledge with Ron. Ross, can I thank you?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And typically, do people show up today, or they have a schedule of what time they're supposed to be here?
Yes, Shannon.
We're going to
Go ahead,
start.
Shannon. We'll let you.
We're going to start with the exempt stuff. We have 3 property owners that are assessment appeals. And one of those has a doctor's appointment and will be here probably about 10. So we're going to be here till at least then.
Okay.
But we've only got 3 property owners. We need to get through the exempt properties first. And there's a couple of property owners representing those properties that are here as well.
Okay.
To the review and approve the agenda.
So we'll review and approve the agenda. Does anybody want to have any conversation about them? That, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Who made the motion on that?
I'm sorry. Hadcock
Oh, sorry, I
made the
didn't hear that.
motion.
Second by Drews.
Second by Drews. Sorry.
That's okay, I didn't.
Back
hear
on
it.
track, Kara, thank you. And we'll start with 2025 County Board of Equalization hearings. Exempt properties, omitted properties, stipulation, no change list, appeals, and any other items as required by the statute. So, we go from items from the public here? We'll have a little, okay, so I guess we'll start with,
Yep.
we'll start with Shannon. Go forward with your exempt, omitted, and everything.
Okay, so the exempt properties. The law says that the Board of Equalization meets today and then has to adjourn by, I think, the 29th is the last day. We do the exempt properties today because if you deny an exemption, the property owner has the right, according to statute, to come back after a week or 2. There's a period of time the property owner can come back and make an argument before the board. So we always do exempt properties the first day, so it allows us that time. A property that is requesting an exemption from property taxes is required by statute to make an application that comes to my office on or before November 1st. All of these applications for exemptions from property taxes are brought to the board here, and the board approves or denies all applications for exemption. So everything that's exempt from property tax, churches, charities, benevolent organizations, schools, hospitals, all of those things, they're all approved or denied by this board. And this is what we're doing today. And I've got several spreadsheets. We'll just have to figure out which one you're looking at first, and we'll walk through them. I've got an explanation of what they are, and you can act on them as we go through.
Yep. So I guess, Shannon, what would you recommend? Which spreadsheet do you want to do first? This large one? Okay, you got that.
Let's leave that one for the last.
Okay,
Let's leave that one for last. Let's look at this one here.
okay. This is the one with the, what's the, okay, it has Cornerstone Rescue Mission on top, or is it the binder?
Say the name.
Cornerstone Rescue Mission on the top.
Okay, so this has
This little one here.
4 items on it and has Cornerstone.
There's 4 of them on the list, and
Okay.
Cornerstone Rescue Mission is at the top.
Thank you.
These were, okay, these were all late, it says, is the headline on this one?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so we've got We've got late applications. 2 of them are new. The Cornerstone Rescue Mission and Silver City Historical Society. Both of those are properties that are applying for an exemption for the first time on that property at least. And then we've got 2 others there. I bring these to you with a recommendation to deny simply because the application was late. And I want to be clear on that. The property would otherwise qualify for an exemption. The property owner, the use of the property, all of that qualifies, but we received a late application, and the property owners have reasons why it was late, didn't know they had to apply, was one of them. But I bring them to you because they are late, and I present them. We do have property owners here from Cornerstone Rescue Mission in Silver City that will answer questions, if you have any questions.
Thank you.
But I gotta say, they would otherwise qualify for the exemption.
I appreciate that, and I guess I would look for questions from the commission here to clearly understand, if you do have a property that's late, is there a spelled out ramification, or there's no spelled out ramification, so then I would say the commission has the authority to make the decision, so.
Chair.
That being said, let's.
I'll move
Commissioner
approval on the
Hancock.
Cornerstone Rescue Mission Incorporated Silver City Historical Society to be exempt this year, or last year.
There's 4 of them on the list.
You only talked about 2.
No, we're-
Okay, so far, so I know for sure those 2, and I don't know who those other ones are, so.
Maybe Shannon can give us a little bit of idea on Staten trustee.
Let- Let's just go over all of them. Cornerstone Rescue Mission has a property that they're using for homeless. I think that's self-explanatory. Silver City Historical Society is an old church property in Silver City. That Stanton is, it's a well lot. It's actually a community water system.
Okay.
And Rockerville Community Club, self-explanatory. Community Club in Rockerville.
Gotcha, thank you.
Chair, then I'll move to exempt the 4 properties, Cornerstone, Silver City, Stanton, and Rockerville.
You have a second?
Second.
Mr. Chair.
Motion and a second. We have some discussion from Commissioner, we have a motion from Hadcock and a second from Durr to approve, and we have a question from Commissioner Roskinek.
Shannon, on the left-hand side of this
Put your
grid-
speaker on, Ron. Your speaker, sir.
Excuse me.
That's okay.
So Shannon, on the left-hand side of the grid, you've got received, for the Cornerstone, 12/30/2024, right?
Yep,
And then 2/10/25 for the Silver City. Those, you said those were all received late, right?
after November 1st of '24.
Okay, so that's the date that I'm looking for, November.
November
First.
1 of 2024.
So if they, for the example, the one that's 11/2/2024, if they would have been one day earlier, that would have been okay? Am I reading that right?
I'd have to look at the statute. I think the statute says prior to November 1st, so maybe 2 days.
Okay, so this just gives me a reference how late some of these were. One was just
Yes.
one day late and one was 6 days late. And so I'm just wanted to make sure that I understood how late some of these were.
Yep.
Okay.
Does that answer your question, Mr. Roskinek?
Yeah.
You're good with that? Do we have any other questions over here? Commissioner Durr, you look like you're,
No, if some of the applicants are here that, kind of missed the deadline, if they want to speak, I'd like to hear what they have to say.
perfect. Is there any applicants from Cornerstone?
Silver City, step on up, or whomever.
Any one of the applicants that are here?
This is,
We'll take the
is it
Cornerstone first.
Lisa? With Cornerstone Rescue Mission.
Thank you.
Yes, Lisa.
Good morning. My name is Lisa Allison with Cornerstone Rescue Mission. Thank you for the opportunity to come before you today. Yes, I can give you all kinds of reasons as to why we were late. But the reality is we filed late. If you would like some reasons, I can give them to you. Basically, we were preparing to get ready for the winter season. We were under the impression that all we had to do was call after 11/1 and we would find out what our status was. And as most of you know about that, October 10th, we had some issues with the city as far as planning and zoning, turning down our request, and then it ended up going to an appeal to the city. Everything just kind of stopped while we went through that whole period of time to try and get a conditional use permit for this facility.
Does anybody have any questions for her?
Thank you, Ms.
I just want you to know we're not here to beat you up.
I appreciate
We
that.
understand that the Cornerstone Rescue Mission has served the community for a long time, and the expectation that it would be tax exempt probably lingers in every one of our heads, so I appreciate your work there. Is there anybody from, we're fine, we're done with you.
Other
so.
questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any of the other,
Silver City,
Silver City?
and I forgot this lady's name.
Ms. Kathy.
Miss Catherine?
Morning, I'm Kathy Druckery. I'm the Secretary for the Silver City Historical Society. Thank you for listening to us this morning. The Silver City Historical Society owns or has possession of a number of properties in Silver City. And the chapel was recently transferred from the Volunteer Fire Department to the Historical Society and filed the Register of Deeds in March last year. Then in January, I received the tax bill. And I thought, this seems strange, because, it belonged to the fire department before and now Historical Society. So I called and visited with Shannon, and he said, well, you need to complete the application. And so I did that, and that's why we were late. We did expedite it as quickly as we could after we received the bill. The one recommendation I have for you is somehow coming up with a procedure so that tax exempt organizations like ourselves, when we're transferring property like a church or chapel, which is over 100 years old, that somebody should have said, hey, don't forget, you need to do this by November 1. But nothing was done at that time through the Register of Deeds. So I would make a recommendation that a little procedure be put in there. It would eliminate having this happen in the future. Thank you. Any questions of me?
Thank you, Miss Kathy. Anybody have any questions? I think that,
Mr. Chair,
yes, Commissioner Roskinick, please.
so ma'am, if you don't get this exemption this year, what kind of a impact does that have on your facility? I'm just curious to see if this doesn't go through the day, what really happens with your group?
It will have a huge impact on our budget. We're a very small community. We're talking a matter of $665 for a year out of our budget. We currently are working on another major preservation and restoration project in Silver City. And our current budget has been allotted for the restoration and preservation of, for example, our community schoolhouse, which is our community center, this little chapel, which is over 100 years old. It's a beautiful chapel if you've never been there, along with the cemetery that was recently deeded to us through the Forest Service. So yes, it will have a huge impact on our budget.
Yeah, and that's in the area with the little yellow house.
Yes, actually, if I have a few minutes, I'll place some information in front of you that you probably will be hearing about in the future. We have a CCC building. I don't know if any of you are aware of what CCC is, the Civilian Conservation Corps that was established in the 30s, Franklin Delano Roosevelt. And the building is currently privately owned. And those individuals, it was a building that was relocated from Pactola. And when Pactola was built, that building was relocated to Silver City and owned by the Burke family. The Burke family turned it into our general store and U.S. Post Office. And then it was sold when these individuals retired. The private family now wants to either remove the building or have it destroyed. And the building is nearly 100 years old. It is one of two in the Black Hills. South Dakota Historic Preservation is suggesting we also apply for National Registry for this building to be preserved. Forest Service has approved us to be able to move it onto property near the schoolhouse so that we are able to preserve this. That building housed 20 men during the 30s throughout a period of time for training. And so it is a very important building to preserve. So that is our major project. The dollar for that is $45,000 to move it and preserve it. We have received $25,000 in grants and another $10,000 in private contributions.
You know, years back, I appraised that house for a gentleman that lived in Hawaii. In the basement area, it's the only house that I've ever appraised in the Black Hills where the basement walls were rough-cut pine,
It has since
They
been
were-
put on a concrete block.
starting to cave in and some
Yeah.
really black dirt. But if I recall, across the street from that house, the gentleman, there was an ice house
Could have been,
where they'd take ice from Rapid Creek and
yeah.
then, that very nice area, so I appreciate all the work that you do up there.
Thank you. The preservation and restoration by the Historical Society is our number one mission.
Thank you. Mr. Roskinek, are you done there?
Yeah.
We appreciate it. I let you guys have a little latitude because
Thank
but
you.
in the future, we won't be able to do that. But does anybody else have a question?
No, I was just going to make a comment. The property she's speaking of was my grandparents.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
It's a small world.
yeah, my grandmother and grandfather ran the store up there, Burke's, and the post office, and my grandmother was quite famous in the hills.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. I'm
Many of
sure-
us bought 25-cent candy bars or nickel candy bars from her at the time.
I hope you can get that building conserved. That's a really huge piece of history for the Black Hills. I mean,
It is.
If anybody knows about the CCC, that, the work they've done in the hills and the area, so, and I'm sure Commissioner Roskinek will be right on top of that to help you guys out.
So when you say Burke, how would that be related to Joe Burke? Was that,
That's my father.
what?
Yes.
That's his dad.
He didn't-
We'll have this conversation later, but now that we've got some
Yeah.
good history, because Ron always brings a little good history to it. So any more questions we got two more on here, but I don't think the people are here. But we're Miss Kathy, thank you.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate all the efforts you do. Silver City's awesome. I remember going up there when I was a kid, but anyway, we'll leave that for another time. But, so we have a motion on the floor for approval, and so all in favor?
Yeah, wait,
I'm
Mr.
sorry.
So usually when people went up there when they were young, it was to party, so could we hear more about this?
He had to give me, didn't he?
Yeah.
We knew he grew up there, so, all right. So we have a motion on the floor for approval. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. That means that these people you will be approved with your status, even though it came late. We understand these things happen, like Shannon said, everything else would have been approved, so there was no other issues, so just a
Thank you,
matter of
ladies.
being a little bit late. Thank you for your diligence. Thank you, ladies. All right, Shannon,
Okay, so
Which
let's
one do you
go to
want?
another spreadsheet, only has two on it.
and these say, these are,
There's Rosebud, Sioux, and Coop Council.
okay.
Coop Council, yeah. Coop Council, so the two, Rosebud, Sioux, and Coop Council.
Can you explain, like Rosebud Sioux, what this is specifically?
Council.
Building,
I'd like you to take action on these separately.
okay, we'll do the first one.
Let's do the Sioux Tribe, Rosebud Sioux Tribe first.
Sure.
The tribe filled out an application for exemption on a property that the tribe owns here in town. I've talked to an attorney representing the tribe. There is nothing in state statute that allows an exemption for a property owned by the tribe. In fact, we have several properties that are owned by tribal entity. Unless it's held in trust, it's taxable. So I'm recommending denial of that one. And what I'd like to do is you to take action on these separately because we do have somebody representing the Sioux Council here.
Do we have someone from the Rosebud Sioux Tribe here?
No.
Okay, so you've talked to their attorney, or,
Yes,
okay.
I-
So they're in agreement with the fact that this needs to be in a trust?
Well, there's an assumption there that if it's exempt from income tax, it's exempt from property tax, and that's two separate issues. The tribe is evidently exempt from income tax, but that doesn't mean they qualify for an exemption from property
Well,
tax.
Chair, I have a question.
Okay, all right, let's go on. Commissioner Hadcock.
So do they use it for any religious purposes or anything for, or is it just a house that someone lives in? What is the property? Can you tell me?
I don't remember. We'd have to look it up.
Ladies, do any of you know what that property, the Rosebud Sioux Tribe property is used for?
What's the address, or where's the location?
I don't know. We'll have to find.
Black Hills Meridian, legal description?
That's the coordinates. That's the legal description.
It's a rural property.
Wow, okay. Looks like a beautiful piece of land.
It's not by Pace Law or anything, is it?
That was my question. Is that-
Joan, can we go to Rapid Map? Let's see if I can find a parcel number.
'Cause
Who's
Pace-
navigating this? Is Joe navigating this? Or is it?
Joe, do you know if it's in Hill City, that area?
It is.
Okay, I'm bringing it up on Rapid Map.
Was this, Shannon, I'm sorry, but was this just acquired? It says new, so.
Or did they just buy it?
They've had it for some time, since
I think
12.
they've had it for several years. It is west of Deerfield. And I wonder if this 40 acres, I think this was what they purchased a tax deed sale a few years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, maybe?
So is it contiguous with Pace Law?
No,
Where's Pace Law compared to,
east, 6 or 8 miles.
So is that general area, is it Reynolds or Gillette Prairie? What they
It would be west
Okay.
and south of Reynolds Prairie.
Okay. So this is stuff kind of down near the South Rochford Road?
It's west of there several miles.
Commissioner Drew, did you have a question earlier? Oh, Commissioner Drew's.
So Shannon, your understanding is this is not in trust?
It is not.
Okay.
The Pace Law property, the Reynolds Prairie property, is held in trust.
Okay.
And that is exempt.
What's the past status on this property? Has it been exempt since they
No.
purchased it? No? Okay.
No,
a young lady would like to speak?
this is a brand-new exemption.
You can come up, ma'am.
Not a request.
What?
It's a brand-new request.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
To be clear, I don't represent this entity.
What's your name, babe?
My name's Jillian Smith. I was just wondering, what was the reason for the exemption that they were seeking?
Good point. Okay, that's a good question.
Good question.
The application for exemption lists several reasons from the statute, and they marked other.
Okay, what are the reasons that they identified? Did they mark any of these as well?
Nope, other. They
They didn't put a reason down, Shannon, why they,
just marked other.
and when you talked to the attorney or someone talked to the attorney, he didn't make a description or
He
why?
just thought a tribe is exempt from property tax.
Good.
And I explained, no, there are state statutes that they have to qualify under, and
So
a tribe can own a mini mart in town, and it's not exempt.
I think it would be important to clarify the reason they're seeking the exemption, because it could very well be used for a religious purpose and fall under an exemption.
That's
pretty
what we were
neatly.
concerned about. Was it for a religious purpose or?
So can we make a phone call or something before we do that today, or bring it back?
What I said in the beginning here is that we do the exemptions now, because if you deny something, the law says the property owner has the right to come back and make an argument. So we do this at the beginning of this board process, so there's time for that to happen.
That's a good explanation. So if we deny this now, that gives this property owner an opportunity. Can we give them a call if we deny this and if they say, hey, you need to
Come
get
back
a hold
with
of
the
your attorney?
explanation.
And
The
come
the
back?
law says they have the right to come back, so if they want to come back, we put it on the schedule.
And will they have,
That's the schedule this year, right?
hey, Commissioner Hancock, hold on a second here.
I'd make the motion that we deny the Rosebud Sioux request.
We got a motion from Drews and
Second.
a second from
Mr.
Durr.
Chair, just to follow up, my understanding has been is that property that's not in trust cannot be held tax exempt.
So, do you
So
have
I
any,
think that's
Hold on a
what they'd have to justify.
Commissioner
You're
Durr?
good.
Yeah, I'm just going to say that I believe it's the county, when a tribe owns land within a county, the county has to give them trust status, and so that's by vote of the board, I do believe.
Oh.
They make a request to get that, and you can either put it in, allow that, or not.
Mr. Chair.
1 second. Mr. Rittenberger, did you have a?
Well, I don't want to argue. I think when the tribe notifies the county that they're doing it, it's just a notice of, the tribe can do it anyways. But I don't think any of that is important here.
Okay, thank
I
you.
agree.
I'm going to hold on 1 second, because Commissioner Ross,
Well, I
kind
was thinking deny without prejudice. Would that be more applicable?
Because
It doesn't matter what you do, the law says that if you deny it, they have the right after so many days, because they are given so many days to come back. So we plan the schedule, so there's that time to notify them, and if they want, they can show up.
I just thought the deny without prejudice might be a little more applicable to this particular situation.
The law says if you deny it, they come back. So
Okay.
I don't care how you say that, they have the right to come back.
So if they come back, it wouldn't be effective until next year.
No, they come back at the end of this month. We put them on the schedule for the end of this
and
month.
we'll clarify that before we're done, but Commissioner Hadcock had a comment?
And so I agree. So if it is in trust, that might make the difference, and we talked to the lawyer, he might say, this might be in trust already.
It is not.
Okay.
We would know that by the ownership.
Okay, but I'd like to know if they're doing any religious or anything on the property or using it for any religious purposes.
I think we have one more comment here. Go ahead.
I would also just like to point out that although having it in trust might be dispositive as a reason for not being subject to property tax, even if it's not in trust, they would still have the same right as any other landowner under the other reasons. So I think that would be important to clarify, because it could qualify under another reason, and whether it's in trust wouldn't make them less able to seek
Qualified.
that than anyone else.
And I'll just make one comment, because we're obviously going to deny this, Shannon, and then my question is, my concern is always in these timeframes is that if we can reach out to them and say, we denied this, giving you the opportunity to come back and appeal this with us and look at the purposes of religious or in the trust or whatever their options are, and you can explain that to them, because if we wait for them to get a letter and all that stuff, it may take some time, especially, I mean, the Postal Service is not always the fastest route of accomplishing something, so if we could get some kind of commitment from you to reach out to them.
Yep, that's why we do this the first day, so there is time for that to happen.
Is the commission comfortable with that then? I mean, is there anything
Yep.
they want to add? Because I think,
So they have
not
time to
reading
come
their
back.
minds, but I think what they want to do is give these people an opportunity to come back and understand this process a little bit better. So if we deny this, we give them the opportunity to come back. So.
Yep.
Motion on the floor is,
Yeah, and I just want to make sure, did you second that, Jerry?
Jerry seconded
Okay, I
it.
just
Gary
want to make
second,
sure.
first by Gary, second by
Yeah,
Jerry. Thank you.
okay.
Jerry.
Okay,
Thank you.
Yep.
Kara, for keeping me straight, so.
I-
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion carries, and that caveat that Shannon's office reaches out to them and gives them plenty of opportunity. So, then we'll go on to the next item.
Okay, on that same spreadsheet, there's an application that's brand new from the Coup Council, and their application states that they qualify under a charitable exemption, and the use of the property, I'm just going to read from the application. used as a safe house, provides short-term leases without respect to ability to pay, no deposit required for tenants, primary tenant responsible for overseeing safe house and management, relieved governmental burden by providing shelter to non-traditional tenants, renters, often regarded as undesirable tenants in Rapid City. Primary purpose is not revenue or profit. So they're asking for a exemption under the charitable statute. All of the exempt statutes are very clear that the property has to be owned by a charity. The organization that owns it is a charity, and the property is used for a charitable purpose. I had talked to Ms. Smith, who was just here, and please come back up. She'll have some comments. I had talked to her about this. I don't argue that the property is being used for a charitable purpose, so that's not the issue. But the organization that owns it has to also be a charity, and I didn't see any evidence of that. I look at the corporate papers and website of the organization, and it stated a mission and a purpose that didn't have anything to do with a charitable purpose. So she's here today to explain that. My recommendation to you was to deny it because it wasn't owned by a charity, but I think you need to listen to her comments.
Thank you. Is it Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Okay.
My colleague Josie Johnson is here as well, if she could also come up, please.
Okay, come on up forward here, and I guess we're looking for an explanation of how you would qualify as a
Yes.
charitable organization. And Shannon, before they go into this, does qualifying as a charitable organization, do we have the law that we can read or something?
Julian has it.
You have the law, and you're
Yes.
going to read it to us.
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
Sure. So SDCL 1049.1 covers property owned by public charity and used for charitable purposes, exempt. Property owned by a public charity and used for charitable purposes is exempt from taxation. Now, the statute defines a public charity as any organization or society which devotes its resources to the relief of the poor, distressed, or underprivileged. Cook Council absolutely meets that definition. A public charity shall receive a majority of its revenue from donations, public funds, membership fees, or program fees generated solely to cover operating expenses. It shall lessen a governmental burden by providing its services to people who would otherwise use governmental services. It shall offer its services to people regardless of their ability to pay for such services. It shall be nonprofit and recognized as an exempt organization under Section 501c3 of the United States Internal Revenue Code, and it may not have any of its assets available to any private interest. In speaking with Mr. Rittberg, he clarified that in his view, the definition of charity here is narrower than the definition in the Internal Revenue Code under 501c3. Now, without a doubt, Cook Council is a 501c3 entity, but it also meets this definition here. It's incorporated as a nonprofit under South Dakota law, and then the purposes that are accomplished by the work that it does are all targeted toward the relief of the poor, distressed, or underprivileged. So only looking at the purpose for organization in the Articles of Incorporation, the Articles of Incorporation weren't drafted necessarily with this in mind. They were drafted to comply with the South Dakota codified law on what's required of a nonprofit entity, and they meet that. That law just simply requires any lawful purpose, and that's covered. But everything Cook Council does meets this definition. Now, in our email correspondence, it was acknowledged that the operation of the safe house is likely consistent. And I say likely because I don't want to put words into your mouth, but you said that you didn't fully reach that question because you were held up at the definition of a charitable organization. But he acknowledged that on its face, our description of what happens at the property in question meets what a charitable organization does, but he's saying this isn't a charitable organization. However, it is, and we've gone through and spoken with our client about all of the work that they do, and all of it is consistent with this. The Safe House is a really good example of the type of work that they do, but everything they do is designed to empower the community, provide access, address unmet needs, and things that people otherwise wouldn't have, that would either otherwise attempt to rely on services in the area, or sometimes those services simply aren't available. The Safe House is a great example of that. You have the numbers on how many people were served there.
Yep, so over the last 2 years and 5 months, they've served around, is it 27 people, I believe? 3 of those being newborns, at least 2 college students, several individuals with disabilities, and also several individuals over 60 years old. And then apart from the Safe House, they also have funds available, grants up to $500 that go out to individuals that may be in the need of food, shelter, clothing, baby formula, things like that. They also have emergency resources of food, lodging, travel. They provide burial and wake service assistance to individuals in need that otherwise wouldn't have the ability to bury their family members. They also provide training to the poor and underprivileged on excuse me, sorry. Community town halls, training on government, how the government works, legislative process, voting. They have voter registration booths to help encourage voting in the community and in Rapid City. So all of these different things coupled together, I think, meet the definition of providing charitable relief to poor and distressed and underprivileged individuals. And again, I just wanted to speak to the bylaws and the articles of incorporation, although they may be broad in the sense that they have to cover everything under the IRS. It's really difficult, I think, for an organization to get a mission statement that covers everything specifically as being a charitable organization. I think anybody that has experience running an organization would agree that just because your mission statement isn't exactly pinpointed down to what this specifically says under SDCL 10-4-9.1, that does not mean that their day-to-day activities do not meet the need defined by the statute.
Thank you. And you're the director of the?
No, I'm Josie Johnson. I am one of the attorneys. We're with Cedar Tree
You're
Native
both
Law.
attorneys then?
Yes, and
Okay.
then
Hi, my name's Natalie Stein.
Okay, yep, fine.
So Chair, can I ask one question?
Yeah, hold on one second. We'll have her come forward. You can introduce yourself for the record. I love your necklace, by the way, so.
Thank you,
Yep.
it's new. My name is Natalie Steitzmeans. I'm Executive Director of the Coup Council here in Rapid City, South Dakota.
Thank you.
Okay,
Okay, and Commissioner Hadcock, and then we'll go,
thank you.
I think there's a lot of questions here, so.
So just, who owns the property? Is it a house? It is a building?
It's a house and it's owned by Coup Council.
And it's owned by Coup Council. So it's under Coup Council, the process in which people are helped, it's a corporation that helps the underprivileged with all kinds of different things. But, so it's, the house is registered under Coup Council?
yes.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. And then Commissioner Roskinek had a question.
So the house, is it like 3 bedrooms and a kitchen, or how's the interior laid out?
It's, has a basement, and then it has an above, in some descriptions, it's been characterized as a duplex. But it's just a really nice sort of garden basement and then an upper level, or a main level.
So do you know what the property is zoned,
Excuse me?
the zoning of the property?
Yeah, the zoning of the property is just regular residential.
And so if it's residential, I think it, under certain types of residential, it'll require so many parking spaces per bedroom. So you've worked with the city of Rapid City to make sure that that particular use follows that zoning would allow the use that you currently have, and you have enough parking spaces?
Yes.
Okay.
And the city has been by our property before and had concerns about an RV that was parked, and we quickly remedied the situation without any citation.
And no problems with the neighbors?
No problems with the neighbors.
Thank you, Mr. Roskinek. And do we have questions on this side, Commissioner Durr?
Yeah, just the question, you're referencing 501c3 in the statute and IRS guidelines. Are you a 501c3 IRS certified nonprofit?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We're registered in the state of South Dakota, and we are a 501c3. We were fiscally sponsored by a Episcopal church, the Woyaton Church, for the first 3 years of our operation, 2017 to 2019. And then in 2020, we were recognized as One Rapid City, and then transitioned to a different name called the Coup Council, which is an acronym, in 2022. That was also submitted with our application.
Okay. So your 501c3 status with the IRS was submitted with your application?
Yes.
Okay. I've got a question for Shannon then.
Yep. Shannon, can you come forward, please, and answer Commissioner Durr's question?
So I guess your interpretation, when you look at the website and stuff, and you're making a determination about their charitable status, but they do have a submittal on file with you from the IRS that they're a 501c3?
Yes. So what I had was the best information I could find. But I talked to Ms. Smith just yesterday at the last minute, and I asked her to come in and explain more here. So I should add here, with the information that these ladies have provided, I would recommend that you grant the exemption.
All right.
I think that's the
That'd be my
direction
motion.
that, we have a motion from Hadcock. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second from Durr to actually approve this exemption. And I'm flabbergasted that it came to this point, honestly, but we're going to approve it.
Thank you.
Appreciate you folks coming forward. You're a 501(c)(3). I don't see any reason to not, I don't know.
Thank you, ladies, for what you do.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we appreciate it, because otherwise the government ends up stepping up and having to do all this work. And with 3 strong women like you taking this on, and 4 of you here taking it on, I can't tell you how much we appreciate this in the community, and the people appreciate it, because you're working with a class of people that is more difficult to deal with. And thank you, and I just want to apologize that you're here today, because I don't think that should have happened, but that's beside the point, and we're going to take care of it today, and thank you. So,
Thank you.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, ladies, for coming today.
I'd like to address the 501c3, that is in the statute.
I think
All
we're
of these.
moving on to the next item. Shannon? Which slide
Okay.
do you want to move on to?
Next spreadsheet, there is 6 on it. At the top is Children's Home Society.
Okay. Children. I'll just have that.
The one last smaller list before we.
Okay,
get
I
to
got
the
it.
longer
Children's Home
one.
Society, it says new on the top?
Yep.
On the spreadsheet. Okay, perfect.
Yep.
Okay, we'll let you give you an overall explanation, and we'll move forward.
So when we bring the exempt applications to the board, we split out the ones that are new applications for the first time, so the board can see who's applying for an exemption for the first time. And that's these here, with the recommendation that you grant the exemption. They qualify. We have a mistake. There's coup counsels on this list. You've already acted on that, but so that doesn't matter. But the only reason that I put these on a spreadsheet is so you can see who is asking for an exemption for the first time. The next spreadsheet we do is a long list of properties that the board has granted an exemption in the past for many years, most of them. These are just recommend you grant it, but it alerts you that they're new properties.
Perfect. So, Shannon, did you want to comment on any one of these individual, or you're saying these should be approved?
Yes, I recommend that you grant them. They qualify for an exemption.
Along with this other spreadsheet, too?
Yeah, and if you want to act on all of it together, that's fine. That longer spreadsheet is just properties that the board has granted an exemption in the past. So they're not new to you. We just split out the new ones.
Okay, well, we'll just take the new ones, and if we have any questions from the commissioners on the new items only?
Oh, I'll move approval.
So,
Second.
we have a motion from Hadcock and a second by Durr to make an approval of the new exempt properties. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you. And then, Shannon, did you want to go on to the approved ones?
The longer list, you still need to act on these. I recommend that you grant the exemption for them. You've done that in the past. You can ask about any of those properties if you'd like, but those properties have been granted an exemption in the past.
Thank you, sir. Does the commission have any questions on any of these properties?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir, Mr. Roskinek, Commissioner
So
Roskinek.
just an overview of what we're looking here. There's going to be churches.
They're going to be a mix of all kinds of properties.
Fraternities, like the Elks Club.
Yeah, yes, all different types. Benevolent organization, which would be the Elks Club. There's charities, churches, schools, hospitals, all of those.
This one.
Do you know how many there is without counting them?
I don't. Joe, do we know?
Does Joe know?
There are 269 on this list.
We're doing the 100%?
259?
259,
Is that what we're doing,
Commissioner Roskinek.
100%? Oh, we're doing them together, okay.
5,000.
Mr. Chairman?
Well, Mr. Roskinek, are you finished then?
The only other thing was, a couple weeks ago, I asked if we could get a pie chart that'd show
Yep.
the owner occupied, other, and then ag.
Yep. Let's get through the Board of Equalization process and I'll create that.
We might have to have Mr. Durr make you the pie, though,
Yeah.
Commissioner Durr. But I know there was a question over here, Commissioner Durr.
Yeah, it's not a question, it's just a comment. And so we're going with a new agenda software, Diligent. And so I don't believe you guys have done this in the past, because I asked Joan. But for next year, when we go through this, could we have all this digitized and on our agenda, just like planning in a regular commission meeting, and the commission office could help with that?
Sure. We've never worked with, my office has never worked with your agenda software, so I don't know how that'd happen.
Yeah, so what I would say is the commission office would build the agenda with you, not that you guys would have to jump in since you don't use it. But anyway, it would be a digitized agenda with all the documents and everything on there, so we could just click and go through it, so.
Perfect. I think it'll be helpful. I'm sure Jordan will be more than happy to help you guys, Shannon, help you through the process. So, Commissioner Drews, did you have a question? No questions? So we got a motion?
I got one more question.
Yep, go ahead, Mr. Commissioner.
Shannon, internally, do you have any idea what the assessed value would be of these 259 that are exempt? Because sometimes I see presentations where you say, this is the number that we got exempt, but there's just some kind of an estimate of value, or don't even bother trying to.
We'd have to print a report to do that, and I've done it in the past, but I don't know what it is. We can certainly get that.
I don't know, I just thought it'd be kind of nice to know. You know, when you sit there and look at all the different properties, just what number, you know?
Hundreds of millions.
Yeah.
It'd be a big number.
But I think people need to know that.
Property value, and it'll be nice to add on the, what the kind of a general ballpark of what the assessment was. I agree with you. And I think that what Commissioner Durr was alluding to is the fact that with the digital software and with all the emphasis we're going to be putting on it, they'll be able to, those numbers will be at your fingertips a lot easier than trying to go through and manually create them. So I think you bring up a good point. So we have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Okay, so the board now has just approved and denied applications for exemption. We have only one that, we have one that we'll contact, we'll see if they want to come back. But you've just done the exempt stuff, unless that one property owner wants to come back.
Thank you.
We do have some property owners that are here.
Perfect.
But
Let's,
we
if they're
might be,
prepared.
we might be waiting for some of them to come in. We might be
Which
ahead
would
of
be fair,
schedule.
right? And we give them do they have a specific time, Shannon,
Right here.
or do they have a window? Okay.
They have
There it
a
is,
general time. It's difficult to schedule these because some go longer than others. We do have one, as I told you, that has a medical appointment and is coming in after that, so we're here till 10 at least. I got to figure out what property owners we've got, so give me a couple minutes.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir, Commissioner.
Shannon, I asked Don to do a Excel spreadsheet that I think all the commissioners could look at,
Yep,
so that we can go down and look at the different values. You got cost, you got market, you got adjusted sale price, so that before we get too far into this, we all understand what each one of those mean.
yep. We'll get to figure out what property owners here and what we're going to do, and we'll have those for you.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir, Joe.
so the first one on the schedule is at 9:15, Diggler. I
Ziegler?
spoke with him yesterday and said if he could get here at 9, that would be great, so he should be here shortly. And then Mr. Compass should be here at 9:30, and then Nancy Bogner has an appointment at 9:45 and will come in as soon as she can.
So we need to take a break. There's nobody in the hall. We got to wait till property owner shows up.
So which one we gonna be doing first?
Sounds like Don Ziegler is gonna be here at 9, correct, Joe?
Diggler.
Okay,
Ziegler,
so
okay.
here's some information I want to give you guys, and I've given the commissioner, because I just got the phone call last night.
So, do we have to do a motion to take a break, or?
No.
Okay, so we'll break until,
Recessing.
we'll just recess, so, until Mr. Ziegler shows up. Thank you. We are in recess.
And what we do is if a property owner comes in and ahead of schedule, we'll take that one, because
we'll just
we're not
take-
going to let them sit.
Yeah, we'll take we'll take them as they come, Shannon. Who would be the first one, Shannon?
Okay, so we got two property owners here. Mr. and Mrs. Diggler are first on the schedule.
Okay.
And Jay from my office will be up here.
Would you come forward and just introduce yourselves?
There's actually no room here. I'll give you guys. This just had a few updates on the other one.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, good morning. Jay McKinstry, Department of Equalization. These are our homeowners here, Martin and Stephanie.
Good morning.
This is tax ID 54748, 6406 Muirfield Drive in Red Rock Estates. Last year, the local board lowered their value from $1,013,000 to $910,000. This year, it just got sent through local, no change, just because we got the letter too late to get them appointments, so now they're over here, but, so we're gonna go through that now. If you wanna look at that sheet that I just handed out with the, comparables on it, the best comp, in my opinion, is comp 3. It's 3 years older, same quality of construction, same finished living square feet, smaller garage, and its adjusted sale to the subject is $998,712. One of the homeowners' concerns originally in their letter was older $1 million properties recently not selling for that number. But even if you just look at the 324 sales, they adjust to the subject on average at over $960,000. The other thing I wanted to mention, one of the homeowner's concerns was a property that sold in their neighborhood that was on this page, yeah. This one. So that 6709 Muirfield, yeah, we are assessed way above what that sold for, but that sold after November 1st, so we have not verified that sale. So we don't know if the information's good on it for what we have for data, or whether it's open market or any of that yet. We'll be verifying that sale, and it'll be in or out of the sales model next year. And then, so, the other thing I wanted to mention was that that number, the MRA at 969,900, that's generated off of 3 years' worth of sales in that market area. 294 sales were used to generate that. So my recommendation to the board is no change for this year. Land at $97,000, structures $872,900 for a total of $969,900.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Commissioner Roskinek?
So it was 910 in 2024,
That's correct.
and 2025, it's 969.9, is that correct?
That's right.
So that's an increase of 6.58% or something like that?
That's right. And if it hadn't been lowered from last year's assessed value, it would have actually gone down about 4% this year, from that $1,013,000 to $969,000.
So can you show me and support that increase from 910 to 969.9? Is there,
Yeah,
what's a rationale there?
the sales are the rationale. And these comps, like I say, are just the 5 best comps in that neighborhood, but it's using 294 sales in the last 3 years to generate that 969.9 number.
When you appraise real estate, you're in that neighborhood. Normally, what I do is I try to define the location, because it's, as they say, location, location, location. So I did not get this letter that Martin sent me yesterday while I was at home. That was not in my packet. The other commissioners did not get this letter. So I took this letter and I tried to put in a grid what Martin was trying to convey in this letter. And I think this is the premise of why he thinks that his property should not be 969.9. And if it's this grid that I put together.
Right, so that's the one we were just talking about.
Right.
6709, we can't even look at that one.
Okay, so, it's here and I'm gonna talk about it.
Okay.
Okay, so.
Commissioner, I'm going to interject for 1 second, please, if you allow. Why can't you use that comp?
We can't have it in our model because it sold after November 1st of last year, which is the assessment date that we have to stop looking at those. We will be looking at that sale next year and determining if it's a good sale or not.
Okay, so because it's after
That's
November
right.
1.
We haven't even verified that sale. We don't know if we have bad information on that. Clearly, we probably do because we're 100,000 over what it sold for.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that, so,
Yeah.
go ahead, I'm sorry.
So anyhow, the reason I got the sales because it's in your database. I mean, I pulled it off of Rapid Map, so I'm just saying that.
Sure.
And just, I'll just do an overview of that. In 2024, the property was assessed at 90, this is just a neighbor on the same street. It was assessed at $901,700 or $400 a square foot. At that same time, in 2024, it sold for 31,700 less than what the property was assessed at. And then if we go down to 6709 Murfield, which is the same street that the Digglers are on, there was a property that was assessed at 765.1 in 2024, and it sold in 2024 for 115,100 less. Now the reason I like these because they're on the same street, same location. Yeah, and we talked about, being a little before November the 1st and a little bit after, but I clearly think that this does show a trend. I don't
Go ahead.
personally, sometimes when a property is lowered the next year, I'm not saying you do it on purpose, but all of a sudden it's brought right back up the next year. And I can show examples of that. But with that being said, in all fairness, I think Martin was looking for 880, and I can't buy that, but I can certainly make a motion that the assessed value for 2025 remain the same as 2024, or 910,000, based on what I consider a stagnant market in this area, and based on these two sales that were put in a letter, but the letter never made it to the commission. I had to hand the letter out today. So my recommendation is that that property be assessed at 910,000, which it was last year for 2025.
913.8. No? 913.8.
That's our neighbor, 6407. We're 6406 at the bottom.
So the motion is for how much again?
908.
From last year?
It would be 910,000, which is, it was assessed at that same number last year.
Okay. So you have a motion, do you have a second?
I'll second for
We
discussion.
have a motion from Roskinek, second from Hadcock. And Commissioner Hadcock, did you have something you wanted to say? Or
9:10, you said?
No?
Nope, I'm good.
Anybody else have anything to say?
Question of Commissioner Roskinek.
Commissioner Drews? you can go
So
ahead
are
and
you
ask Mr.
suggesting leave
Roskinek.
everything the same as 24, the land at 97,000, the structure at 813,000 for the total?
That'd be correct, just identical to 2024.
Okay.
That clarify for you? Okay, so everybody, so all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We have reduced it back to the previous years.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it.
You have a wonderful day.
Yeah,
Thank you.
We'll move on to, is there another?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Joe.
just to clarify then, we have land at 97,000.
Yep.
The structures will be at 813,000 for a total of $910,000.
That is correct. Yep, thank you, Joe, for the clarification. Okay, we'll move on to the next item.
Next property owner we have here is Mr. Compass and Dawn from my office.
Good. You?
I'm good, thanks.
Hello, if you guys don't mind just stating your names for the record, so.
Dick Compass.
Dick?
Dick.
Okay.
Yep.
And Don Puckett, appraiser for the Equalization Office.
Thank you.
I'm going to give you a copy of what I'm sharing with the commissioners.
So Donna, do you know what number that's under in our?
No, I'm trying to find it myself.
Council ID is 70967.
Oh, is this one that we don't have, guys?
We don't have anything in our
Okay.
We don't have it?
have it, Gary, so.
We put this on the schedule after we had that stuff prepared for you.
Okay, so now we have this right here, right? Okay, so I guess,
So, yeah, I want to apologize for not having stuff to you in advance. I was working on it at 7 o'clock last night.
don't need to apologize.
So that's,
Thank you.
it's no disrespect intended, but once in a while, we're out looking at other properties and don't get to office stuff all the time. So I'd like to introduce the property. This is tax ID 70967. Owner Dick Compass is here today. The address of the property is 13345 Highway 40, so just east of Keystone. The 2025 assessment is $33,500. I want to talk a little bit about the property and the description. I promise I won't take too long here, but there's a little bit of history with this property, so I want to touch on that. So the property is 7.87 acre improved parcel. The dwelling is 1,920 square foot pole frame construction. The dwelling was originally built in 2008 with an addition in 2020. There was, when Mr. Compass purchased, a 480 square foot garage building built in 1988. And then in 2023, an 1,800 square foot storage equipment type building was also added to the property. The site has a year-round creek flowing through it, and it is also located next to the Keystone Sewage Lagoon. Joe, in the documents, would you pull up the one that says site photo and show the commissioners a shot of the property taken from the highway? So purchase history on this parcel. In 2007, Mr. Compass purchased the original 1.58 acres and paid $67,000 for that. In 2017, he purchased an additional 6.3 acres for $90,000, for a total purchase price of the land there at $157,000. Now, those are older sales, but I just wanted you to know what we started with. In 2020, the two parcels were platted together, making the 7.87 acre parcel that we're looking at today. Page 4 of your handout has the plat map. It shows the current floodplain designated area for this parcel as well. The property is partially in the 100-year floodplain and partially out of the floodplain. And the current assessment on the land is $102,100. Just talk about this photo a little bit. It's taken from the highway. There's quite a bit of frontage there. So the fence and further back is Mr. Compass's acreage. If you look towards the back, you can kind of see it looks like a berm. That's the sewage lagoon. And it's really hard to see, but kind of right in the center of the photo is where the house is located.
Can I stop you for 1 second? You said the lagoon. Where's the lagoon at according to the house?
Right next
It
to
is
it.
directly behind it.
Okay, that's where, that dark area there by the tree?
Yeah, so I don't know if you can see that. There's a spruce tree kind of right in the middle, and to the right is the sewage lagoon,
Okay.
and then to the left is the house. And another way you can see
there?
that.
Or is that the creek?
That's the creek. There's creek.
Okay, back in there is the lagoon. Okay, perfect, thank you.
Another way you can see that is on my handouts on page 3. So the top one is the subject parcel, and you can see the sewage lagoon there at the bottom of the photo. I put a little red star where the house sits because the imagery of the house is kind of overshadowed by the trees. It's hard to see. But there's a little red star there kind of middle on the back parcel.
A lot of floodway.
Okay?
That's floodway, not floodplain.
That's floodway or floodplain?
Floodway.
Okay.
Okay. Are we
Thank you.
are we good now? So a little bit of building permit history on this parcel. In 2008, a variance was issued to allow a rear setback of 8 foot instead of 25 foot so that the structure could be built. And so then the original 30 by 40 structure was built. In 2020, a building permit was issued for the 24 by 30 addition to the home with a floodplain development permit application being submitted and approved. And again, in 2023, a building permit was issued to construct the new building, the equipment shop type building, with a floodplain development permit application approved. So Mr. Compass has jumped through quite a few hoops here to get what he would like to develop his site to be. Because of that floodplain designation and getting the house set back to be outside of the floodplain designated area. I want to note that There's also a substantial appeal history with this property. So 6 of the last 7 years, this property assessment has been appealed. And, that's just mostly for your information as we move forward, and you'll understand why I've made adjustments to the property, which I'm going to share with you as well. So the land valuation has been adjusted downward 55% for the economic loss in value of being located next to the sewage lagoon. The single-family residence has been adjusted down for a couple of reasons. The first is because there is a loss in value determined between the size of the dwelling at 1,900 square feet and the quality of construction at fair. And then also, I think it was 2 years ago, Mr. Compass let me come in and view the interior, and there's portions of it that aren't finished. He's comfortable with it. He may never finish it, but I did want to account for that in our costing. So I have a 10% downward adjustment for that. I further have a 30% adjustment for the same economic loss to the structure value for the sewage lagoon. So the building is brought down 40%. So at the current time, I have no adjustment allocation for the floodplain, and this is because the dwelling is located outside of the flood designated areas. Further construction has been allowed to occur in this property over the years with floodplain permit development applications. The site has a home, a detached garage, an equipment building, and a new bridge to cross the creek to get to the house. And it possesses all the characteristics that one would expect to find in this market. Okay, so making an adjustment for a floodplain would further create an inequity among other parcels in this neighborhood. There are other homes along this creek all the way into Custer County. A downward adjustment for a water feature specifically would go against the general trends we see in the market where parcels sell at a higher price point if there is water on the property. So in the case of this property, with everything that he's been allowed to do and able to do, I do not have a floodplain adjustment on it. On page 2 of my handout, I have 3 sales to share with you. And I bring these before you more as an indication of the property is not over-assessed, because I do not have a perfect sale to make adjustments to predict a value for the subject. So the first column there, it's blue, the subject, the assessment mailed out at $333,500. Comp 1 is at 24,258 Highway 385. This is south of Hill City as you head towards Custer. It's a 1959 cabin. It's sold in June of '24 for $335,000. It's located 20 miles west of the subject, so it is a ways away from the subject. It is an older frame-built cabin. It is located in a flood hazard designated area, and if you look on page 3, the bottom photo is the floodplain area for this cabin, for this property. And so this property is entirely in the floodplain areas. Okay. Comp 2 is 13685 West Battle Creek Road. It is pole frame construction. A lot of times, pole frame construction is unique. I wanted to pull a comparable that was of similar type construction. This is located within 5 miles of the subject, just off of Highway 40 as you head towards Hermosa. This sold in August of 2024 for $425,000. There is no flood hazard or sewage lagoon influence on this property. And comp 3 is 24227 Granite Court. It is a little bit newer of construction. It is located 0.2 of a mile away from the subject. So basically it is across the street from this photo that you are seeing. There is no flood hazard designation tied to this property, but you can see the sewage lagoon from the property. And then, I'm not sure if I said it sold in June of '23 for $425,000. These were the most similar comps that I could find to the subject, just to help illustrate that we are not overassessed at 333,500. Sorry about that. I have considered the adjustments and the concerns that Mr. Compass has brought to me through the years. And the only thing left is for the taxpayer to produce some proof that we are in excessive on the valuation of his property. And so far, I have seen nothing like that. So in closing, I would like to ask the board to uphold our current assessment of $102,100 on the land and $231,400 on the structures for a total of $333,500.
Thank you very much.
Don, can you,
Commissioner Ross Connect has a question for you.
I wondered if you could expand that out so we could look at it on Rapid Map, so we could see the location where you can.
You bet.
Yep.
So we are right where the road that comes out of Rockerville by the Children's Center and intersects Highway 40.
So are you on the South Rockerville
Thanks, I live
Road?
there and can't remember, so. And then, so Keystone would be to the west.
So that's the South.
My drive is about half a block west of where the South Rockerville Road intersects Highway 40.
Yeah.
On the south side of the road. About a half a block over.
Can you go out just a little bit further?
Oh, I guess I could have done that. I have a computer, don't I?
So, on these spreadsheets, let's just go to cell one, and if the other commissioners want to follow along, that's fine. On comp one, it looks like the sale price is $335,000.
Correct.
And then if we go up, where it says average, below average, it says 840.
840 total living area.
So that's
Correct.
840 square feet above grade, and that's the living area. So I would divide the 840 into the 335 to arrive at 398.81 a square foot.
Correct.
If I wanted to look at what that sold at per square foot, the land and building. And then when we go down, you got the picture, then you got a little narrative, and now you got 358.45. I'm just wondering how you got to that.
So the top number below the sale price is the sale price per square foot extracted out of the sale. The bottom number is the 2025 valuation with the sale price per square foot extracted out of that. So where comp one sold for $398 a square foot, we currently have it assessed at $358 per square foot.
Okay, so I'm just saying that would help me if there was next to that, it'd say, so would it be safe to say that would be 300 and, for 2025, it'd be assessed at 358.45 a square foot, is that,
Yes, correct,
okay, just so the other commissioners know what those numbers are.
correct.
So then if you go over to the subject property, you're saying that, based on a living area of 1,900 square feet, and an assessment on a per square foot basis, 173.69.
Correct. And the influence there is the adjustments that I've already made downward to this property. That's why it's so much lower than the others.
So then the subject property's got a 7.87 acre lot, where comp one's got a 1.9, comp three's 3.13, and then comp three's 0.19.
Yes,
And it looks like there's a detached garage of 2,280 square feet.
so that would be the total of the two garages combined, but yes, there's two outbuildings on the property that total 2,280.
So when you get to that 173.69, You've taken those garages in the credit, or you've
Yes,
factored them into your,
yes.
thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Roskinick. Does any other commissioners have a question, or is there anybody want to make a motion on this item?
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
So Don, the lagoon, who does the lagoon belong to?
It's the Keystone City Lagoon.
Oh,
When I bought the property, it was run by the company that built it. And it was supposed to be one of the most modern sewage systems west of the Mississippi, with no smell whatsoever. And then the town of Keystone, they had a full-time manager there, and then the Keystone City got a hold of it, and now they check it for 10 minutes in the morning and 10 minutes in the late afternoon. And every year, we're getting more smell out of it. And, you know, at the time when I built, they said, you'll never get any smell of this facility, and the city can't afford to have somebody there full-time.
Sure.
But every year, it gets a little worse and a little worse. And, you know, my house is 9 feet from the sewer plant.
9 feet.
9 feet?
9 feet from that property, yeah. And we've got a lot of floodplain. You know, what's floodplain out by the highway, I've got a 25-foot setback. And then what isn't floodplain is right adjoining to the sewer plant.
Follow-up question on that, Mr. Chair?
And I realized when I bought the 6.3 acres from Doc that I gave more money than most people would have thought it was worth, but my leach field all ran into that property,
Okay.
and there was no easement on it.
Well, I think
So of the 7.87 acres that you have, how much of that is actually usable property?
Most of that up the hill. As you can see there, there's a bunch of, there's a hill that's forested, but down from it, it's an area here that's
Okay,
usable property, and it joins the sewer plant.
okay.
Now, what's not in floodplain, out by the highway, we got a 25-foot setback, so that pretty well takes care of doing anything out there.
But he was able to build his new shop in there. You can see where the new shop is. It lies between where the
Yeah, we
floodplain
brought in
ends
a
and the
bunch
highways.
of
Yeah.
base course and built it up enough to get it out of the floodplain. But I don't know how many loads we brought in, quite a few loads of base course.
Do we have any more questions from the commission? I guess, what are you looking for?
Well, I thought where we were last year was pretty good.
In that
And
number?
then last year, we were appraised at 35% of the shop, and so we added the other 65, and I think that price is fair.
So last year's assessment was 291.4.
Okay, so I want to clarify just a little bit. So last year, the new shop was only on its partial completion at 35%. So part of the valuation increase this year is making that shop at 100%.
Making what at 100%?
Yes.
Okay, new shop, okay.
Yep. So on my board sheet, I kind of wrote all three values for you. So the assessment.
Don, I got a question for you. When did you assess this property?
So the last time I was on site, is that your question?
Yeah, when you assessed it or?
Give me 1 sec.
Can I ask?
Sure. And Commissioner Roskinick, can I ask you a question, Dick?
So, when you were talking about, was it Dar Coy that worked on that?
With the what?
Was it Dar Coy that worked on this sewer plant back in the day? Is there any certain months that seems to be worse than other, the smell?
Well, yesterday, I could smell it quite a little, but usually in the summertime is when we get more of a smell. But see, at the time they built that, Tom Malloy, I don't know if you knew him or not, but he managed that plant. And it was modern, and he worked there full-time for this company. And like I say, now after Keystone took it over, they come out for 10 minutes at 7 in the morning and another 10 minutes late in the afternoon.
Okay, so I think Don's gonna answer my question.
And I don't know if it's, that it's getting older or if it's the way it's managed.
Thank you, Dick. Don's gonna answer my question.
The last time I was on property was October of '24, when I was there for the completion on the building permit.
So they finished that building in October of '24, okay.
Yep.
So Chair,
But then I think Commissioner Hadcock, you have a question?
yeah, I would leave it at the 333.5. I think she treated you pretty fair based on the shop and the information we have at this point. Because you were at 291.4, and I think the percentage for finishing the shop and the things that Don has explained today was pretty fair. So that would be my recommendation, is to leave it at the 333.5.
So we have a motion
Yes.
from Hadcock to leave this.
Second.
And a second from Durr to leave this property at 333.5, considering all the adjustments that have been made. Dick, any discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Sure, Mr. Roskinek?
no, I don't think he'd be here if he thought that was a good number, and
Right.
I'd really like to take that 333.5 and knock 10% off. Just, I didn't realize that he was having, when you live next to a sewer plant, that's called functional obsolescence, and sometimes, or external obsolescence, and sometimes it's curable and sometimes it's not, but
It would really knock a sale, I would think.
to me, that would definitely have an impact on trying to sell the property. I wasn't aware of that going in, but I do think that we need to take that into consideration.
So that would be a 300,000, 150, what you're
That'd be
suggesting.
300, 150 if we went that direction.
That would be fine with me.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Durr?
Yeah, I just think that the Equalization Office has done a good job going through all of these adjustments and making, so adjustments that we just talked about have already been made in your factor. And so the reason I believe for the increase is because the completion on the other building project, but it looks to me like the Equalization Office has done a good job of factoring in all of these situations, the sewer plant, the flood situation, all of that, and then making these adjustments, so. And I agree with what, Commissioner Roskinek says about somebody wanting their adjustments made. Obviously, you're here because you want an adjustment, but that would be every taxpayer in Pennington County, so.
Any other comments?
Chair.
Commissioner Hadcock?
So I believe Don took all those considerations in what Mr. Dick had said and Mr. Compass. And I think, again, your shop last year wasn't finished. She also, I don't think, extremely raised because of the shop finishing as well, let alone the floodway and the floodplain that we last year took in consideration, sir. So I think in this case, she treated you pretty fair with the adjustment. I've seen adjustments when they finish shops or other things a lot higher for comparables at that point. So all the pieces and parts that were talked about today, she took in consideration for your floodway, floodplain, and the sewer plant. And she did last year. And the only difference, I believe, is the shop, which she only added, 36 or 37,000, so.
I think the house was raised, 18,800?
I don't have the numbers in front of me. I just have the
18,800,
totals.
and the land was up $9,300 from last year.
Yeah, so you went from 291.4 to 333.5
I
with the
think
finished
those are the
shop.
figures on it.
All right, thank you, sir.
Mr. Chair.
Yep, we'll get Commissioner.
My disagreement would be on the land value. I don't think where it's located, the use of the land and sitting next to that sewer, I just don't think the land value should be at that amount. But I don't have another suggestion.
Okay. So, no substitute motions or anything. We have a motion on the floor for 333.5.
Mr. Chair, I'll go ahead and make my substitute motion. with a, if you knock 10% off just for the functional obsolescence, external obsolescence, that would be an effective assessed value of land and building of 300,150, with the land still retaining the number that it
The
had.
92.
Mr. Chair.
24.
Sure.
Could we have the recommendation, or for the motion, rounded to the nearest hundred?
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you're 300,000, it's a 50, so it could go either way. So 300,200, would that be your motion?
Correct.
So we have a motion from,
300,200.
a substitute motion from
Correct.
Commissioner Ross Connect. For
I'll
300.
second that.
And then there's a second for a substitute motion of
By
300,200.
Or by
So,
Gary? Gary.
yep, yeah, Gary Drews, so now we have a motion, a substitute motion, so we'll vote on the substitute motion of 300,000, 200,000, so.
What was the breakdown of that? Are you?
Yeah,
lowering
the
just-
breakdown is the land at 92,800 and the structures at the difference of
Okay.
The land is what?
92,800. Is that correct, Mr. Roskinek? Is that what you were thinking, or did you want to do? I'm trying to speak for him, but that's probably not the best way to do that, so.
Yeah, they wanted the land less than the house. Landlord and the house got more.
So if we go 10% on both of them, I guess that
Calculator.
takes 92,800.
To 102.
92,800.
Just wanted the land.
83,500 for the land, and then the remainder,
So it'd
Would
be
be-
198,1.
198,100. So
The-
198,100 for the house, 83,500 for the land. Joe,
83.5?
83,500 and 198,100, does that add up to 300,200?
About
It's
10,000 acres.
not.
It doesn't?
So 102,1 for the land.
450,000.
102.1 you said for the land?
Right, 198,1 for the structure.
653, 642.
102.1, and what'd you say for the structure?
Okay, hold on a second.
We're messing with him now?
Ron's
It
messing with us.
works.
There's something in his name.
Would you take 10%?
Give us the
Another
numbers,
number.
Ron, and we'll go
That's
by
funny.
your numbers since it's your motion.
Okay, so the land, we're gonna keep it 102,1, right? That'd be residual.
Oh, gotcha, 102,100, okay, yep, I gotcha.
And then the building would be 198,1,
190, okay.
for a total of 300,200.
Okay, does that make more sense to you, Joe? You got that, Joe? Don, did you get that number?
I did,
Because we're
thank
going to
you.
vote on it right now. So all in favor, say aye.
Chair,
Aye.
Chair, discussion first. So on the 102, 100 is what she already has the land at. And they
Yeah.
said that the land was the issue, not the building.
Yeah.
But they didn't, but you're not lowering the land.
I said the land was the issue.
You
Ron
did.
didn't.
Not Ron. This is Ron's motion. Ron was comfortable with the land. Gary wasn't.
And Gary said because of the land, but we're leaving the land the same?
No, but Ron, yeah, we're going to leave the
I
land at
still think
102.
we get the effective.
Overall, it's
adjustment,
effectively the
yeah.
same thing, so.
And do
Let's
you
let's
mind
have a
if,
roll call.
do you mind if a person drives up there
No, go ahead.
and verifies it
Yeah,
themselves?
that's fine with me.
I kind of live up in that area, so I'd
Yeah,
like to.
I know you're our,
Make sure you got
Commissioner.
some moonshine available for that guy. So we're going to have a roll call vote. So, thank you.
Go ahead.
And so it's a 300,200.
Okay. Dur,
No.
Drews,
Yes.
Hadcock,
No,
Ross Connect,
Yes,
Wyffenbach,
Aye. Yes.
3-2.
So motion carries, 300,200.
thank you.
Thank you, commissioners. Nice to see you.
Take care.
Yeah, you.
Okay, we have another client here, Shannon.
A reminder for the board, when you move a value, round to the nearest hundred, our software rounds to the nearest hundred, so we need that to input it. So keep that in mind when
Joe,
you do
straighten
that.
us out on that. Thank you.
Okay, so we're waiting for one property owner, and she had an appointment and told us that she'd be here probably about 10. So we got a little bit, and I did forget one of the spreadsheets on the exempt property, so I'd like
Yes,
to
let's handle that
act
one. We
on
did
that.
talk about that. Was the countryside one?
Yeah, they're all countrysides, one highlighted line, but they're all countrysides.
And the highlighted line was for,
So there's, what, 2, 4, 6 properties here. Countryside Homeowners Association applied for an exemption for all of these properties. It's an odd situation. I recommend that you grant the exemption on the one highlighted, because that is a well lot and it is a community water system.
Okay.
They don't actually have to apply for an exemption. The Community Water Association is a subsidiary of the state. They would be exempt anyways, but they provided an application. But they also provided an application for the other parts, and those other parcels are just common area. And
let's
there's
handle
no.
this. Shannon, would it make sense to handle that one right now? Just vote on that.
I would ask that you grant the exemption on the one highlighted and deny the exemption on the others.
And they're all from the same, can
They-
you, okay, I'll let you further explain then.
So,
Explain
yeah,
this.
they're all owned by Countryside Homeowners Association. The ones not highlighted are common areas, and there's no reason that they should be exempt. The highlighted one is Community Water Association property, and that should be exempt from taxes anyways. I'm asking that you act on it because they brought an application. So please grant that exemption and deny the exemption on the others.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
question to Shannon. So Shannon, on any other developments where they have common areas, do any of those qualify for exemption?
Excuse me, Gary, we got two people talking to me. Joe, I missed that because I heard
That's
two
fine.
people talking.
The first parcel is also a well lot, the 888. And it's already has the exemption.
Okay, so deny the exemption on the last four. Okay, I'm sorry.
Common
My
area.
apologies, Gary.
Talking about common areas.
That-
So is there any other developments in our area that have exemption on common areas?
No, a lot of common areas and subdivisions, they're all taxable.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Who owns them?
The homeowners association. And in this case, Countryside Homeowners Association. So the homeowners association owns the common land.
They're not a charitable organization or,
That's right. They're not a church, they're not a charitable organization, they're not a benevolent entity, so there's no reason that they should be exempt. But the well lot is part of a community water association that provides water to, in this case, Countryside.
So Chair, what is the common areas used for? I mean, is there anything used on those common areas for
When
park or?
When
is
the
there-
subdivision was platted, the common areas were separated out to be used for whatever, recreation, enjoyment, hiking, whatever. Of all of the different subdivisions we got, it's just common area.
So Countryside decided to buy a well lot and then buy a bunch of common areas so people couldn't build on them?
No.
I mean, what was the purpose?
They didn't buy them. When the subdivision was developed, it was included then.
So who owns them? Just they can sell them for lots, you mean, to other people?
They could, but there's bylaws for the homeowners association, though, so they would have to collectively decide to
I
sell
get
it.
that, but like, are they next to the well lot? Are they just little 1 acre lots? Are they drainage areas?
All of that.
Huh.
All of that. Some of the common area we have in subdivisions are very nice, but they specifically did not develop that area.
So you're showing us some, Joe, the common areas?
This is one of the common areas.
That's the well lot, isn't it?
Well, that little small piece in the middle is.
This is a well lot, and then the stuff outlined in orange is the common line.
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner
So
Hancock,
Shannon,
I'll
a
get it.
lot of your common areas are, I mean, they're maybe determined unbuildable as far as lots, or they maybe have children's activities on them, playground equipment, that type of thing. But
Yeah.
typically, I mean, most developments anymore have some common areas in them, do they not? For the most part?
I don't know about that. You're right on the first part. There could be playgrounds, hiking trails, or it might be a drainage, a creek go through it, that all kinds of different uses. I think though, when you talk about most developments now include common area, I think we're getting away from that. Because the idea a couple of decades ago was the residents in this area will enjoy this land and people don't get out of the house as much as what they thought they would at one time. So I don't think we see it in new developments as much as we used to.
I'll just make a comment. I think that the common area, this is the best way to do any subdivision moving forward, because then it puts the angst of that, all that property on the HOA. I mean, the county does it with road districts, basically, and so if the HOA is in charge of all this area, they control it, they manage it, they do everything, and then the county or the city or somebody else doesn't have to step in and mow it and do all this stuff. So if the HOAs can take over all these drainage areas, and I know it's not specific to what we're talking here, but just a little bit of history on them, so it makes sense for the HOA to have control of it, especially if you have an area where you want to keep it to a certain standard, but the way I understand it. So do we have a motion on this floor?
I'd make a motion,
We have a
Mr.
motion
Chair,
from
to
Drews.
deny the open space areas of the four applications.
And that would also include approving the well lot, right?
I don't think we need to do anything with that, do we?
Yes.
You have to prove.
I'd like you, because they did provide an application, so it's certainly a paper trail if you act on it.
Include that then.
Okay, so that's the motion on the floor from
So
Drews.
you're approving the two but denying the,
We're approving the first two and denying the other
Highlighted
four.
one.
approving the one highlighted but denying the other?
No, we're approving the highlighted one and the other well lot.
Yes, two of them.
The highlighted one is a well lot. Joe pointed out the top parcel there is already exempt.
Oh.
It was mistakenly included in this list.
So we don't need to do anything with that one?
That's right.
So just the highlighted one you're approving and denying the bottom four?
Yes.
Okay, got it.
So we have a motion and
Second.
a second by Drews. We have a motion by Drews and a second by Durr. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion carries.
I apologize for the confusion on that. And now we've covered all of the exempt properties.
And we'll be waiting for the next,
Next and last, we got one more property owner.
come and find us.
Bogner's here and Derek from my office.
Thank you. We'll get underway here, so. If you don't mind giving your name for the record, sir.
Stimber.
Yeah.
All right, good morning, Board. My name is Derek Dalen. I'm an appraiser with Pennington County Equalization. And before I get into too much, I did set a piece of paper in front of your microphones. It's our updated comparable sales grid. I believe Don might have talked about it earlier today. It has updated cost values, and there's an MRA line in there too. Those are now the assessed values for the subject and the comparable sales. So just wanted to reference that for you guys.
Thank you.
And the subject property we're talking about this morning is 1205 Duffer Drive. It has a tax ID of 48153, and it is owned by Nancy Bogner. And I am recommending that the assessed value be upheld of $474,400. That's a $70,000 for a land value and a $404,400 for a structure value. Again, total of $474,400. The subject property is 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths. It's located.
Can I stop you for a second?
Yeah, go ahead.
This is, land 70,000,
Yes,
home 404,000.
for the structure, yes.
Okay.
Total value of
It says
474,400.
on here 484,400.
480.
Minus 474.
Oh, down here.
That was,
So it is 474 then, okay, because on this Director of Equalization recommendation is, so you're recommending higher than what you assessed it for?
No, I'm recommending 474,400.
lowering.
Oh, you're lowering it from 484? Because that doesn't add up.
No.
No, it's just down here on your sheet. Up here you have 474 and what Commissioner Weifenbach is looking at down here.
Oh, that should be 484.
474.
Or yeah, 474. That's what I'm recommending. That was the assessed value.
Okay.
Yes. Sorry about that.
No worries, we got it. Okay, so, and you updated these comps, so I guess we'll hear from the homeowner, I mean, right?
Or yeah, I mean, I'm certainly, if you want,
Yeah.
I can make it short and sweet.
that's my
Oh,
plan.
that's fine.
That's
You
my
just
plan too.
give us
so.
some, your rationale for where you want it to be and why would be perfect.
I'll introduce myself
Push
first.
her
I'm
mic
Nancy.
towards her.
Yeah, if you
would,
could
please.
help her out with that mic.
Thank you, sir.
My name is Nancy Bogner. I'm 72 years old, and I'm on a fixed income. And when I moved into the house a little over 10 years ago, I calculated out that everything was fine and it could last me until I was 90. It's not going to last that long. So I'd request that you lower it $460,000.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
I would request that you would lower it to $460,000.
460,000
I think that's fair.
from 474. In 24, it was 418. Did
Well,
you?
I'd prefer that you go back to that.
Yeah, that's a
but I-
13.47% increase. Is there something that was finished or something, or?
Where, yeah, a little bit more about that percent change for townhouses that are on Hart Ranch like this. The average percent change was right around 14%. And where that came into play was just reviewing sales. That's where that justification for that increase. With assessed values are all well aware, our goal is to be at market value. So the percent change that's based off of an increase that was needed to be in line with market value.
But to me, that's excessive.
Pardon?
To me, that's excessive. I'm surprised you haven't had the whole Hart Ranch in here.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Mr. Ross.
So ma'am, you're saying that if I'm reading this right, from 2024 assessment to 2025, it went up 13.47%. And you're saying that's excessive?
Excessive,
Okay.
yes.
And with that being said, my question would be is, how do we actually get to that 13.47? It's been my experience, what we do is we take a sale and a resale, and then we look at what it sold for the first time, look for what it sold for the second time, and then we extract a percent increase. And if you get 4 or 5 of those, then there you have it in black and white that supports the 13.47. So you got some, if you were to be in a court of law, the judge could say, well, how'd you get to 13.47? So you'd have to have another whole set of market evidence to show that 13.47. It just can't be pulled out of there, and that's my question. Where do we got it, and how can we support it?
Can I answer the question, Mr.
Yes,
Chair?
sir. Go ahead.
So I understand the sale resale. And we keep track of those properties that sell and resale. But when we're appraising mass appraisal, we measure the accuracy of our assessment with a sale ratio. We calculate the ratio of assessed value to sale price. If a property is assessed at $90,000 but sold for $100,000, we're assessed at 90%. And we do that on every property that sells, and we do that on every neighborhood. And our goal is to be at market value and equal amongst all of the neighborhoods everywhere. So what Derek was referring to was we were looking at this particular property type in this neighborhood, and we calculate that ratio, and it was low. So we bring it up not only to get to bring the assessed values in that neighborhood up to market value and then equal with what the ratio is every other neighborhood. Our overall ratio this year will be about 96% of market value. So we're not looking at a sale resale. In mass appraisal, we're looking at that ratio analysis, measuring our level of assessment in every neighborhood.
But if you hired a private appraiser and just said, I want you to go in there and look at resales, that would be more, they'd give you a stronger number because it's specific to a certain area and they're dialing into a specific area, because mass appraisal is just what you said, it's just mass. So my question would be, if every one of these comparable sales, if hers went up 13.5%, all in the same neighborhood, if we looked at those, did they all go up 13.4? Just to be equal, because it is the Department of Equalization.
So what Derek said is the average increase in the neighborhood was about 14%. Every property is different. Some are larger, some are smaller, some have garage, some have basement. Land size is different. So it isn't the exact same blanket change across all properties, but he said the average in this neighborhood was 14%.
Okay, so I just wanted to see something in black and white.
Chair.
I mean, I'm just saying this is just me. I'm not saying that's wrong, but I'm just saying, when I see a number like that, I'd like to just see some evidence in black and white.
I think that's fair.
That's just me. I'm not saying the other commission that.
You're fair. You don't have to substantiate your questioning. But I have a question from Commissioner Hadcock.
Not a question, I'm just going to make a proposal of 70 on the land and 390 on the building for a total of 460.
We have a motion for 390 on the building and 70 on the land.
Based on the comparables and the things I've seen, I think that's pretty fair.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. I appreciate that. So we have a second? I can second that motion. So we have a motion by Hadcock, a second by Wyffenbach for 390 on the building and 70 on the land. Do we have any discussion from the commission? Well, we're going to vote on this, so all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Got one opposed, correct, from Commissioner Durr. So the motion carries with one opposed from Jerry Durr. Did you get that, Kara?
Mm-hmm, thank you.
So we adjusted it to 460, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
That's all we have on the schedule today. Our next day will be the 21st, and we're not sure yet how many days we're going to fill with the schedule. We have a lot of property owners, staff are still trying to get out and look at the properties. We have reserved 21st, 22nd, 23rd. Is it 24th, Joe? 21 through, I think 24th, and then the 29th. But at present, we've filled the day on the 21st. We are halfway through the 22nd, confident we'll fill that day, and probably another day or two. Not sure yet.
Thank you. And Shannon, I hope that some of our questioning gave you an idea of the questions we might ask on those days too, so we can,
Absolutely.
thank you. Appreciate that.
We're
And then,
recessed.
Motion
Yes.
by Hadcock to adjourn?
Nope, you don't adjourn because you have to stay until the end of the
Oh,
month,
yeah.
so
So
recess.
we're in recess then.
Yep.
We're gonna go out and play soccer and.
If you